Now let us see few operating system interview questions and answers. The source and courtesy is from this website. So first is, what is an operating system or an OS? The easiest answer is, it is an interface between a user, a human user, and the hardware. We'll know more about it. An operating system is a program or set of programs that manages the computer hardware. So it also provides a basis for application programs and act as an intermediary. This is what I was telling about. Intermediary between a user of a computer and the computer hardware. It controls and coordinate the use of hardware among various application programs for the various users. Next is, why is the operating system viewed as a resource allocator and control program? Resource allocator as well as the control program. Since the computer system has various resources, these are hardwares and software that may be required to solve a particular problem. Like you need CPU time, you need memory space, you need file storage space, output devices, and so on. So the OS, it acts as a manager for these resources. So it is viewed as a resource allocator. And the OS or operating system is viewed as a control program because it manages the execution of user programs to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. What is the kernel? The next question is, what is the kernel? So a kernel, a more common definition of this kernel is that the OS is one of the programs running at all the times in the computer. You see, whenever you boot or your hardware is initiated, you see that always you have one program which is always running, and this is called the kernel. So this is called as the kernel, or the program, or the OS part, or OS itself, which runs always, with all else being the application program. What are batch systems? Batch systems in operating system. What are the batch systems? Batch systems are quite appropriate for executing large jobs. Now you are not giving one job, but you are giving batch of jobs. You are giving number of jobs at once. So batch systems are quite appropriate for executing large jobs that need little interaction. You just give the job and yet forget. So the user can submit jobs and he may or she may return later for the results. So it is not necessary to wait while the job is processed. Okay, you don't have to wait. So operators batch together jobs with similar needs and run them through the computer as a group. So this group is known as the batch. What is the advantage of multi-programming? Multi-programming means program means program. Multi means multiple program. So what is the advantage of multi-programming? Multi-programming increase your CPU utilization by organizing these jobs so that the CPU always has some or one to execute. So several jobs are placed in the main memory where exactly they have to be present to be actually acted upon, and the processor is switched from job to job as needed to keep several jobs advancing while keeping also the peripheral devices in use. So the processor is busy, it is making use of the devices also, input-output devices. So multi-programming is the first instance where the operating system must make decisions for the users. Therefore, they are fairly sophisticated. Now the next question is, what is an interactive computer system? Interactive computer system. Interactive computer system, it provides direct communication between the user and the system. Interactive computer system provides direct communication between the user and the system. So the user gives instruction to the operating system or to a program directly, say using a keyboard or a mouse, and then waits for the immediate results. Now the next question is, what do you mean by time sharing system? Time sharing system. This time sharing or multitasking. So there is a difference between multitasking and multi-programming. This time sharing or multitasking is a logical extension of multi-programming only. So it allows many users to share the computer simultaneously. The CPU executes multiple jobs by switching among them, but the switches, they occur so frequently and so fast, in the order of nanosecond, maybe less than that the users can interact with each program while it is running. So the switching is quite fast. This is multitasking. Next is what are microprocessor systems and give their advantages. Microprocessor systems or multiprocessor. Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is multiprocessor. What are multiprocessor systems and give their advantages? So multiprocessor systems, they are also known as parallel systems. They are tightly coupled systems. They are systems that have more than one processors in close communication. So you have number of processors, multiprocessors, and they have the systems have more than one processor in close communication. They are communicating also. Also, they are sharing some common bus. They are sharing the clock, sorry, and the memory and the peripheral devices. So there are advantages to these multiprocessor systems where the multiple processors are there. They are talking. They are tightly coupled. They are sharing various resources. So the advantage of multiprocessor system is increased throughput, economy of scale, and increased reliability. Now, the next question is what are the different types of multiprocessing? Different types of multiprocessing. We have two of them mainly. First is symmetric multiprocessing (SMP), and then you have asymmetric multiprocessing. So in this symmetric multiprocessing or SMP, each processor runs an identical copy of the operating system. In symmetric multiprocessor, each processor, there are a number of processors, so each processor runs on identical copy of the OS, and these copies communicate with one another as needed. So all processors are peers, they are friends, they are buddies. For example, Windows NT, Solaris, Digital Unix, OS2, and Linux. While in this asymmetric multiprocessing, each processor is assigned a specific task. A master processor controls the system, and other processor they look to the master for instruction or some predefined task. So it defines a master-slave relation kind of thing. This is asymmetric multiprocessing. While in this symmetric multiprocessing, each processor runs an identical copy of the OS, and these copies communicate with each other. The example of asymmetric multiprocessing is Sun OS, say version 4. What is a graceful degradation? Graceful degradation. In a multiprocessor system, failure of one processor will not halt the system, but it will only slow it down. A number of processors, if one fails, then others may take up, but the system may slow down. So if there are 10 processors, if say one fails, then the remaining 9 processors are going to pick up the work of the failed processor. So this ability to continue providing service is proportional to the surviving hardware, and it is known as the graceful degradation. The next is what is dual mode operation? Dual mode operation. The dual means two. So dual mode operations, the dual mode operation provide us with the means for protecting the operating system from wrong users. Okay, from wrong users and wrong users from one another. So user mode and monitor mode, these are the two modes, user mode and monitor mode. So monitor mode is also called as the supervisor mode, system mode, or privilege mode. While this mode bit is attached to the hardware of the computer in order to just indicate the current mode. Mode bit is 0 for your monitor mode and 1 for the user mode. What are privileged instructions? Some of the machine instructions that may cause harm to a system are designated as privileged instruction that may cause the harm. So the hardware allows the privileged instructions to be executed only in the monitor mode, not in the user mode. These are the privileged instructions that may harm your system. They are considered to be privileged instructions. Next is how can a user program disrupt the normal operation of a system? How can a user program may disrupt the normal operation of the system? See, a user program may disrupt the normal operation by, say, issuing some illegal input-output operations, by accessing memory allocations within the OS itself, and refusing to relinquish means going out of the CPU. So these are the user program that may disrupt the normal operations of a system. Now the next question is how is the protection for memory provided? How is the protection for memory is provided? See, the protection against illegal memory access is done by using two registers. You have a base register and then the limit registers. So the base register hold the smallest legal physical address. This is a base register. And the limit register contains the size of the range. So the base and limit register, they can be loaded only by the OS using special privileged instructions. So in summary, with this base register and limit register, the protection of memory is provided. Now the next question is, what are the various OS components, operating system components? These are the components of operating system: process management, main memory management, file management, input output system management, secondary storage management, networking, protection system, command interpreter system. These are the various OS components. What is a process? What is a process? A program, any program, it may be a system program, application program, or you say a user program. So a process which is actually a program under execution, in execution. So it is the unit of work in a modern operating system. Like the unit of work of weight is a gram and length is meter. So in the unit of work in modern operating system is process. So a process is an active entity with a program counter specifying the next instruction to execute and a set of associated resources. So you have a program counter and then various resources also. So it also includes the process tag containing certain temporary data and the data section containing the global value. So you have a program code segment, you have a stack, you have a heap also maybe. Then the next question is, what is a process state, and mention the various states of a process. Process state and various state like ready, waiting, etc. So the process executes. As it executes, it is going to change the state, as per the requirement or the running framework. So the state of process is defined in part by each current activity of that process. Each process may be new, it may be new or created, running or waiting say for some input output event to take place, then ready to be fed into the execution or to the processor, and then the termination or terminated. Now the next question is, what is process control block or PCB? So each process is represented in the operating system by a process control block. Okay, each process is represented in operating system by a PCB. So also called as a task control block or process control block. So it contains many pieces of information associated with a specific process. So it simply acts as a repository of any information that may vary from process to process. So what this PCB contains? The PCB has process state, program counter, CPU registers, CPU scheduling information, memory management information, accounting information, and input output status information. Next is, what is the use of job queues, ready queues, and device queues? Job queues, ready queues, and device queues. See, as the process is going to enter the system, they are first placed in the job queue. Okay, job queue. This queue consists of all the jobs in the system, and the processes that are residing in main memory and are ready and waiting to execute are kept in the ready queue. They are placed in a ready queue. So the processes that are residing in main memory and are ready and waiting to execute, they are kept in the list called the ready queue. And the list of processes which are waiting for a particular input output device is known as the device queue. Okay, these are the use of job queues, ready queues, and device queues. The next question is, what is meant by context switch? Context switch is a type of overhead. When one process, it switches, CPU switches from one process to another. So switching the CPU to another process requires saving the state of the old process and loading the saved state for the new process. So this task is known as context switch. The context of a process is represented in the PCB of a process. Next is, what is spooling? Spooling, as you see in printers, what happens that the job goes, or if you assign it some job of printing, then the spooling happens. Okay, the printer, it carries the job, all which has come sequentially or in likewise. So spooling means simultaneous peripheral operations online. Simultaneous peripheral operations online. So it is a high-speed device like a disk, which is interposed between a running program and a low-speed device involved with the program in input output. So it disassociates a running program from the slow operation of device like printers. So spooling is actually a type of a way in which we have a device which is running fast and the other which is running slow. What are system calls? So system calls, they provide the interface between a process and the operating system. So you have process and OS. So system calls provide the interface between a process and the operating system. System calls are also called as monitor calls or operating system function call. So when a system call is executed, it is treated as by the hardware as the software interrupt. System calls as software interrupt, and control passes through the interrupt vector to a service routine in the operating system, and the mode bit is set to the monitor mode. The next question is, list the services provided by an operating system. Operating system is a resource allocator, it is a service provider, it is a controller. So there are various services it provides. First is your program execution, input output operation, file system manipulation, communications, and error detection also. What are the two types of real-time systems, soft and hard, this kind of? So there are two kind of real-time systems, hard real-time system and soft real-time system. Next is, what is the difference between hard real-time system and soft real-time system? Hard and soft. So the difference is, a hard real-time system, it guarantees that critical tasks it will complete on time. In a soft real-time system, the critical real-time task gets priority over the other task. Okay, here the priority is there. Here it is the guarantee and retains that priority until it completes. So soft real-time systems have more limited utility than the other counterpart, that is the hard real-time systems. Next is, write the difference between multi-programming and non-multi-programming. Multi-programming and non-multi-programming. So the operating system picks and begin to execute one of the jobs in the memory, right? So eventually what happens, the job may have to wait to some task such as tape to be mounted or an input-output operation to be complete. In a non-multi-programmed system, the CPU would sit idle. In a multi-program system, the operating system simply switches to and executes another job. Operating system simply switches to and executes another job. So when the job needs to wait, the CPU will switch to another job, and so on. So eventually the first job finishes waiting and gets back the CPU. So as long as there is always some job to execute, the CPU will never be idle. This is the difference between multi-programming and non-multi-programming. Next is 27th. What are the design goals of an operating system? Design goals of an operating systems. So the requirements can be divided into two basic groups. Design goals of operating system. First is your user goals and the other is system goals. User goals and system goals. The requirement can be divided into two basic groups. So users desire that the system should be convenient and easy to use, easy to learn, reliable, safe and fast. The operating system should be easy to design, implement and maintain, and also it should be flexible, reliable, error-free and efficient. So there are some of the requirements which are vague and have no general solution. Next question is, what are the 5 major categories of system calls? We have seen the system calls also. So the 5 major categories of system calls are process control, file management, device management, information maintenance and communications. What is the use of fork and ECDE exec way system calls? So fork is a system call by which you create a new process, and exec EVE is also a system call which is used after a fork, once the fork has been done by one of the two processes, to replace the process memory space with a new program. Define elapsed CPU time and maximum CPU time. Elapsed CPU time is the total CPU time used by a process to date, and maximum CPU time is the maximum amount of CPU time a process may use. This is the difference. So these were few questions on operating system. We'll be taking more of them. Thank you so much. Take care.